popular culture. For instance, in video games, female characters are often cast in the role of damsel in distress to fulfill game objective and advance the storyline.
Yeah, Zion
Similarly,
Feng, it's fine.
print media
Slides are not
frequently
moving.
depicts Latina women with a sexy yet uninhibited image. These stereotypes are also present in the film industry, with approximately 85% of the global box office revenue coming from Hollywood films, influencing gender, race, and cultural stereotypes established by the US film industry that spread widely to other media. AI is a rapidly advancing field, making significant strides and evolution in recent years. This technology has transformed various industries and impacted our lives. For example, numerous AI image generators have become widely used in the creative and technological sectors, allowing anyone to easily create visually appealing images without requiring artistic skills. However, generating images from massive datasets also contributes to the proliferation of stereotypes, making them more prevalent and serious than ever before. In this regard, this study aims to utilize AI to group and exchange elements of stereotypes to overturn repeating stereotypes. In past studies, we have used AI to compare stereotypes of popular culture, witches. We summarize the stereotypical image of the witches today. We then analyze the two major components, appendages and appearance, from a historical and social perspective, and attribute the reasons for the formation and transformation of the witch image. These past stereotypes will be designed using the design approach of extraction, preservation, and transformation. And finally, the pros and cons of this method will be summarized from a practical perspective. The research results prove that this method is feasible. At the same time, however, the method has several drawbacks. The most obvious drawback is the need to spend a lot of time on a literature review. Also, in the various methods of stereotype subversion, we have studies whether referencing stereotypes with image-based media, with information obtained from textual media, or replacing current stereotype with past stereotype of characters. The exchange of stereotype is essential. Such an exchange of elements is not only effective in subverting stereotype, but is also used for innovation. Building on the concept of exchange, the study proposed a method to overturn character stereotypes more efficiently with less time investment by selecting two character archetypes, tyrant and mad scientist. The stereotypes associated with them are grouped use AI image generator or through questions posed to ChatGPT. The study then delves into the investigation of historical real-life tyrant to deepen understanding of their action and traits, which helps comprehend the reason behind the stereotype depicted in the artwork. This is the knowledge about the reason behind the character stereotyping. The study chose which stereotypes to retain, enabling the audience to better judge the character's identity. Finally, the remaining stereotypes of the two characters are exchanged, and the design is finalized. This television method allowed for overturning stereotypes of two different characters simultaneously. Additionally, the approach offers flexibility as a step involving historical investigation can be omitted when time constraints are present. However, some historical investigation may still be necessary to more accurately select the stereotypes to be retained. The primary objective of this research is to explore the AI-based methods to efficiently overturn stereotypes within a shorter time frame. It aims to enumerate the strengths and weaknesses of this method to empower creators to select the most suitable approach for their specific situations. Moreover, the study provides a reference and inspiration for future research related to stereotypes. This paper first lists all methods, then describes the actual process in detail using the most time-consuming method as an example, and finally lists the results obtained from all methods and summarize the pros and cons of each method. The methodology of the study is divided into three major steps. Step 1. Select two character archetypes. We decide to choose characters with significant differences. We observe that even among randomly generated character pairs, there were already distinct archetypes. The selected archetypes are the explorer, jester, hero, sage, and tyrant. For this study, we choose the tyrant and the mad scientist. Step 2. Next, choose AI image generation or ChatGPT. When inquiring about the differences between the tyrant and the mad scientist, ChatGPT provided information about the relative distinction between those two character archetypes, including their overall image, costume, and facial expression. This step reduced the time needed for subsequent exchanges regarding stereotypes. However, some details, such as thinness of a mad scientist face and the tyrant leg player, were not mentioned, as they were only compared after observing the images. Step 3. For AI image generation, give preference to stereotypes that can clearly indicate identity. If none are available, select the stereotypes that appear most frequently in the image. Finally, examine detailed information. For ChatGPT, give preference to stereotypes that can clearly indicate identity. If not available, make a subject selection. Then examine detailed information. This paper mainly documents the most time-consuming method. Firstly, we summarize the character stereotypes from the image generated by AI. Next, we analyze the data to determine which stereotype influences can achieve a greater simulation of stereotypes. Finally, we select the service stereotypes. The word tyrant has a very long story, dating back to ancient Greece. In the early days, the word was considered neutral. However, some, such as the Greek philosopher Plato, took the view that tyrant was a negative term. Aristotle also defined a tyrant as a monarchist who commits his extreme atrocity against people and others. Next, we examined several tyrants that exist in history. They are Xiaji and Leopold II. For the AI-generated images, the tyrant stereotypes were summarized as follows. Male, middle-aged, beard, sparse hair or baldness, serious expression or anger. Eye color different from the general population. Words at closing. In conjunction with the discussion of real historical tyrants, we decide that middle-aged and or associate clothing should be retained. There are two reasons for this. One, beard and thinning or body hair actually reflect the stereotypical appearance of the middle-aged or villain, especially the latter. The character of the tyrant is a villain in most works. Studies have shown that male villains have a higher percentage of thinning hair, which is a stereotype of villain rather than the tyrant. The hairstyle of tyrant vary from culture to culture. For example, Xiajie is one of the most famous tyrants in Chinese history. According to executed classified documents, murals of the time were their long hair tied in various shapes on the top and the back of the head. In addition, past research has shown that gender change is a quick and effective way to overturn stereotypes. Therefore, we did not select male and beard and left middle age. The three remaining stereotypes are visual representation of the tyrant brutal characteristics. In particular, the angry expression and different eye color are typical means of portraying a brutal character. The tyrants examined in this study show a common characteristic of cruelty. They use inhumane means such as torture and murder against others. In addition, an examination of historical documents and artwork shows that they basically did not treat others as equals. Rather than being angry, their attitude was to take things for granted. Therefore, we decided to leave what actors behind. This retains the stereotype of the tyrant as a brutal murder, while at the same time alluding to his identity to some extent. Using Korean, we generate portrait of 20 mad scientists. The results showed that the mad scientists had a number of obvious similarities. First, the most obvious feature is a bald forehead, which is found in 100% of mad scientists portrait created. The next most obvious feature is this shavelled head, hair, which is present in 98% of mad scientist portraits. 19% of mad scientists wear glasses or similar goggles. 18% of mad scientists' face are thin. In terms of clothing, 18% of mad scientists wear white shirts. 45% wear formal academic clothing. 25% wear white coats. 25% of mad scientists had scientific instruments such as test tubes. Next, several mad scientists were investigated. There is an example. Root One is one of most famous mad scientists of the early movie screen. He appears in Fezerland's film Metropolis. The film is a German expressionist science fiction silent film. It is a UNESCO memory of the world list, and is considered one of the first fictionalized science fiction films. One study examined 1,000 horror films released in the United Kingdom between 1930 and 1980. The research found that 30% of the film featured mad scientists or their creation as villains, and even when they did not. 39 of threats in the film appeared as a result of scientific research. Scientists appear as heroes in only 11% of the films, and most of the evil genius share the same fate, trying to play God by creating life, but with doom in the end. The stereotype of the mad scientist generated from AI image is a bald forehead, disheveled hair, thin, wearing glasses, white shirt, white robe, or formerly tired and carrying scientific tools. In conjunction with further research on sophisticated mad scientists, we categorize these elements according to the characteristic of the mad scientist they are intended to display. Stereotype reflecting intellectual trait. A bald forehead, glasses. Stereotypes that reflect madness, messy hair, skinny. Stereotypes that reflect identity, white shirt, white coat, or formal wear having scientific books. The stereotypes we end up keeping were skinny and having scientific tools. The reason for this follows. Based on our study of Frankenstein, we thought it was important as a prototype to have the character that embodies the madness of trying to play God. Therefore, our first step was to keep the stereotype in such a way that it embodies the characteristic of madness. Disheveled hair is good reputation of insanity, but at the same time, it is the opposite of stereotype of a tyrant with sparse hair. So we believe that interchanging these two pointings should produce a more pronounced result. Two, stereotypes that reflect identity and choose to have scientific tools. Notable studies show that even without a lab coat, having scientific tools in the character hands or in the background can reflect the scientist's identity to some extent. Therefore, no other clothing option will chosen. Stereotype 3. Stereotypes that reflect intellectual traits were not kept because they are also reflected in the scientific tools. We once again summarize our methodology and its strength and weaknesses. Sort by order of shortest time used. ChatGPT plus stereotype to show identity. Both can be used by people with no design experience. Fastest method. Prompts may be suggested if the selected character prototype does not have a stereotype to indicate the identity. AI image generation plus selects most frequent stereotypes. Prompts very fast. Prompts need to summarize stereotypes from image results. The highest percentage of stereotypes are likely not reflective of character archetypes. ChatGPT plus research. Both. ChatGPT can provide corresponding stereotypes which save time. Prompts take time to research information. It does always give the stereotypes that can be summarized visually. AI image generation plus research. Both sometimes can summarize the stereotype not mentioned in ChatGPT. Hence, most time-consuming method. This paper documents the last and the most time-consuming method. By examining a large number of sources and examining what stereotypical influence were used, we were able to achieve a greater effect of subverting stereotypes. As a result, it was concluded that it would be better to keep the tyrant, middle-aged words by closing, and the mad scientist skinny current scientific tools, and replace the rest of stereotypes. This would allow the audience to immediately recognize the original characters and would best distance both characters from the original stereotypes. The other method is much less time-consuming but somewhat more random. Whether one chooses by subject experience or by the most frequent choices, there is no guarantee of the best outcome. In other words, it is one that best guarantees that the audience will be able to quickly identify the original character, and at the same time of the two characters that the furthest away from the original stereotypical image of the original. In conclusion, if the designer has sufficient time, the AI generator plus research or ChatGPT plus research can be chosen. If there is not enough time, the remaining method can be chosen. The remaining method takes less time, and the designer can try them all to get the desired result. And there are references. Thank you for your